Today we're heading to Modern to fully embrace the power of MDFCs. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and today we're heading to our post-ban Modern format to play some MDFC combos. So one of the weird quirks of Modern Horizons 3 is thanks to the new round of MDFCs, we actually now have enough MDFCs that we can play a 24 land monocolor mana base that is literally all MDFCs. And that's what we're doing today. We are playing mono blue MDFCs. As you can see, we have every single mono blue MDFC in our mana base. So these cards, we do cast some of them on occasion. Sink into Stupor, especially Jawari Disruption, rarely. The rest of them we don't usually cast, but these are all just lands that are not technically lands. And playing a deck that's full of lands that aren't actually lands opens up not just one, but two combo finishes for our deck. So the first one, Goblin Charbelcher, and you've probably seen this card before. We've played it in various formats. 4-mana artifact, you pay 3, reveal the cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. But remember, our deck has 0 lands, so it'll actually be reveal our entire deck. And then it deals damage equal to the number of non-land cards we revealed to a creature or player. It's going to be our opponent. So essentially, we play Goblin Charbelcher for 4 mana, we activate it for 3 mana, and our opponent takes 40-something damage, and we win the game on the spot. So that's one of the reasons we're playing the all-MDFC mana base. The other reason is we have a second combo with Selective Memory. So Selective Memory, 4 mana sorcery, we can search our library for any number of non-land cards, exile them, and then shuffle our library. This lets us combo kill with Thassa's Oracle. If we have Thassa's Oracle in hand, we get to 6 mana, we Selective Memory, exile our entire deck, play the Oracle, win. If we don't have Thassa's Oracle in hand, we can cast Selective Memory, exile everything but a Thassa's Oracle. The next turn we draw it, play it, and win the game. So those are the reasons we're playing the all MDFC mana base. The other key card of this deck, I mentioned, to win the game with Belcher, we need 7 total mana. We can split it up though. Selective Memory, we need 6 total mana, also can kind of split it up, but we need 6 or 7 mana to win the game, and ideally, we'd like to do it all in one turn. In our perfect world, we don't play Charbelcher and then pass and the next turn try to win. We would really like to play Charbelcher, have 3 mana, activate it, kill you right then, so you can't interact with it or Boseiju it or whatever. Lotus Bloom makes getting up to 6 or 7 mana way easier. We just suspend it for 3 turns. Once it comes down, we essentially have a literal Black Lotus. So if we have this on turn 1, it sets us up to have enough mana to combo kill with Charbelcher or Selective Memory on the turn that Lotus Bloom comes off suspend, which is going to be turn 4. So essentially, with Lotus Bloom, turn 4 combo kill. Without Lotus Bloom, we can win on turn 5 by like splitting up the combo, but a little bit slower. The rest of the deck, Preordain helps us find our pieces. Harbinger of the Seas, actually super sneaky good in this deck. One of the things I love about this deck is even outside of like the combo kills we've been talking about, the deck has a ton of neat, weird little MDFC synergy. So Harbinger of the Seas, our blue Magus of the Moon, just turns all non-basic lands into islands. So we're playing this because it wrecks our opponent. We're able to just turn all of their non-basics into islands. Maybe they can't play any spells, but it also synergizes really well with our MDFCs because all of our MDFCs either cost 3 life to come into play untapped or come into play tapped. If we have a Harbinger of the Seas, all our MDFCs are just islands, so we get to play them untapped without paying life. We also have Snapback, which we can bounce a creature, play it for free if we exile a blue card from our hand. Way better in our deck because all of our lands are technically blue cards. Same with Subtlety, lots of blue cards to exile. Disrupting Shoal and Force of Negation also kind of do the same thing. Disrupting Shoal, though, that's the most interesting one. Force of Negation, everyone knows. Exile a blue card, counter a non-creature spell, blah, blah, blah. Disrupting Shoal, we can exile a blue card with converted mana cost of X from our hand to counter a spell with that mana value. So this is another free counter, but it's a really hard one to use. But if you go back to our mana base we were talking about before, the fact that we have 2 mana, 3 mana, and I guess even 7 mana, which unlikely to come up, but maybe we get a Karn or something. But we have all these lands that are technically 2 and 3 mana value blue spells, makes it really easy for us to turn on Disrupting Shoal and use it to protect our combo. It doesn't have the restriction of Force of Negation where we can't cast it during our turn, so it's a way if our opponent tries to like counter our Belcher, counter our Selective Memory, we can counter back with Disrupting Shoal. So all these neat little synergies of like having all these lands that we can pitch to Subtleties and Snapbacks or Disrupting Shoals or come into play on depth with Harbinger Seas make the deck even more powerful. As far as the sideboard, we do have one island in the sideboard, and there is a big downside to playing the all MDFC mana base, which is if our opponent has a Boseiju, let's say, or a Cleansing Wildfire, or some effect that's like blow up your land but you get a basic land to replace it, those effects are just straight up land destruction against our deck. So if we run into a deck that's overloaded on Boseijus or other effects like that, we can bring in the one island, get around the first one. Yes, the risk is it could fizzle our Belcher kill, because remember, Belcher reveals card still hits a land. If we bring in the island and we don't get Boseiju or don't draw the island, it could fizzle our Belcher kill and make us kill over 2 turns instead of 1, but still, it's worth it in those specific matchups. Otherwise, a ton of counters. Commandeer, hilarious, good against the One Ring and Planeswalkers and such. More Harbinger of the Seas, some more bounce for creatures, and that is our mono blue MDFC selective memory Belcher combo deck. That's our deck for today. Let's jump into a Modern League and see. Is playing a monocolor all MDFC deck an actual legit plan for Postman Modern? Let's find out. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I will talk to you soon. Need some Magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/MTGGoldfish. All right, it is MDFC time. We are playing some mono blue selective Belcher, mono blue MDFC combos, essentially, in Modern. This hand... A lot of action. No lands, Automo. Actually, okay, do we keep this? The funny thing about these all MDFC hands is it looks like we're just stocked full of action, but if you look at it, we have 1, 2, 3. We technically have 5 lands, a Thassa's Oracle that doesn't do anything, and a Disrupting Shoal. So would we keep 5 lands Thassa's Oracle counterspell normally? I don't think so. I think we actually mulligan it. All right, this... I guess is better. At least we have a Belcher, so we have a way to win the game. And I mean, I guess it's a little silly to think of all the MDFCs as just lands, because there is a chance we like Jawari Disruption something or Slink into Soup or something. Probably not going to Seagate Restoration, I would say. That's a lot of mana. Well, tap land, go. So yeah, there's enough MDFCs now that you can build a 24 land monocolored mana base of all MDFCs, which is why this deck exists. All right, Lotus Bloom would have been better last turn, but still good. We will suspend that and Slink into Stupor, I guess, untapped. We have enough lands that we could Jawari Disruption something, perhaps. Perhaps. Let's see what our opponent's doing. Trio means probably some sort of domain, 5-color pile strategy. Opponent, stomping grounds. It'll be interesting to see how much value we get out of the MDFCs as spells. Or are they really just awkward lands that make our combo... Ooh. Harbinger of the Seas probably ruins our opponent's day, but I feel like it probably dies here. We'd rather have our opponent tap out and then get him with the Harbinger. Well, we will continue to play lands untapped. Now we can Slink into Stupor or Jawari Disruption. And we're going to wait on the Harbinger. We're going to wait. We prefer our opponent just to tap out for something and then Harbinger and probably lock them out of the game. All right, opponent finds a basic forest and passes. Well, take down the Lotus Bloom. Ooh, force negation. Okay, let's play the Jawari Disruption, and I think we're gonna remain patient here. So in theory, we can win the turn that the Lotus Bloom comes down. In practice, our opponent could interact with it. Was this One Ring? All right. Well, that is kind of what we wanted. Force it? Well, we got him to tap down, so our opponent's going to go... Well, we'll see. Lotus Bloom taken down, and that should be game, right? Unless our opponent has a force, which they shouldn't have. 1, 2, 3, 4, Belcher, and then 1, 2, 3 from the Lotus Bloom, and off to a good start. So, since there's all MDFCs in our deck, Belcher is deal damage equal to the number of cards in our library, which is a lot. Well, MDFC power, that went super well. Way better than I would have expected, honestly. Okay, so I guess we're rewarded for being patient. Now, so the Harbingers seem insane. We'll bring in all those. The Commandeers actually seem really good against our opponent's deck, too. What can we cut? Probably counter spells, really, or like the snapbacks. A consigned to memory could be all right. It does stop the ring. Maybe we try it like that. We probably need a couple of snapbacks in one consigned to memory. Yeah, let's just diversify. Diversify our counterspell assets a bit. It is cute how good Disrupting Shoal is in this deck, just because all of our lands have mana value. I mean, this hand is kind of great, right? We got the Lotus Bloom, we have the Belcher, we have Selective Memory if we need a backup, we got 3 lands, and a Snapback that, who knows, might do something. No Harbinger. I feel like Harbinger's gotta be one of our best cards in this matchup, but... Alright, opponent. Starts on a Surveil, passes. We draw Thassa's Oracle, which actually might not be bad, right? Because we do have Selective Memory. So the way Selective Memory works, if we have Thassa's Oracle, we can just win with 6 mana. Exile everything, Thassa's Oracle, win. If we don't have Oracle, we can exile everything but the Oracle and win the next turn. Well, okay, there are literally all of our Oracles. Since we have so many Oracles, I think we might just run one out. The thing is, our opponent, there's no secrecy here, right? Because our combo last game revealed our entire deck, so it's not like our opponent's not going to know about the Oracle. What do we want on top? So Tapland or Lotus Bloom? Is Lotus Bloom turn 3 going to be fast enough is the question. Or do we just want another mana source? I think we just keep the land. Slink into Super is one of the MDFCs we are most likely to want to cast. So being able to play another one next turn and hold on to the Slink, because Slink is kind of the get out of jail free card, right? It can bounce anything. So if our opponent has, I don't know, Pithy Needle on Belcher or something like that, we can deal with that opponent land and passing. All right. Well, I mean, so our opponent probably has more interaction now that they know what we're doing. But in theory, we could win the game next turn, right? Once this Lotus Bloom comes down. So we draw the Selendii Visions. Let's get in with the Oracle. Plan Z, the Thassa's Oracle beatdown. About it. Down 18. And Selendii Visions. And go. Well, I mean, the only bad news is we have no defense, right? So if our opponent plays... something ridiculous or has a counter, we can't really stop that. No Commandeer, no Force, no Disrupting Shoal. And we can't even bounce with Slink this turn because we had to play the tap land, but we'll see. We'll see what our opponent does. Opponent surveils, and... Alright. Yeah, that's awkward. So, Beseju on MDFC. So there is a downside to our love of MDFCs, which is... Beseju just straight up strip mines us. There is sinkholes us, whatever. There's no lands to find. All right, yeah, that's kind of brutal. That does mean we could get locked by like Ren Beseju, which would be very sad. So now we could still win this turn if our opponent has nothing. The question's going to be, do we dare go for it? Another Lotus Bloom. Well, I guess we suspend it. So we could play untapped MDFC into Selective Memory, into Thassa's Oracle, but then we're kind of just like blowing our entire shot. Let's get in with the Oracle first. I feel like the odds of our opponent having interaction are pretty high. Yeah, let's just play it tapped. I don't know. Maybe this is... The problem is we have to sack the Lotus Bloom, right? It'd be a lot easier to try. Ooh, all right, Leyline Binding on the Lotus Bloom. All right, that's not great. Yeah, maybe we should just, I don't know. Should we just went for it? If we didn't have to sack the Lotus Bloom, it'd be very easy to like run out the Belcher and see what happens. But since, because really it's because of that land destruction. That land destruction spell really threw off the math for all of our stuff. Oh, there's a One Ring that we can't deal with. Okay, and we don't have enough mana to win next turn. Yeah, things... we might have missed our window. That land destruction spell is really good. That made the choice so much harder. Otherwise, it's pretty obvious to go for it. But yeah, we might have needed to just go for it there. Subtlety, eh? Well. Thassa's Oracle to do a little scrying, essentially. I mean, I guess we can take the Harbinger and try to jank him out. Maybe this Thassa's Oracle beatdown plan is going to be our most realistic way of winning. Can't get in damage that turn because of the ring, but opponent goes to 14. Draws a couple. One Ring so busted. It's so busted. About it. I mean, we're actually like, oh, into Omnath. Okay. I mean, I guess we can. I guess we have to subtlety this and then try to play the Harbinger. Do we even care about selective memory anymore? Probably not. I think if we're going to win, it's going to be with the Belcher. Especially since we cast both Oracles. We could snap back an Oracle, technically, but... Alright, stop the Omnath for now. Well, I mean, this is a game plan. If our opponent just cannot deal with the Harbinger, maybe we have hope. Oh, that fetch land's bad for us. So you'd hit our opponent to 12. If we draw an untap land, we could still try for the Belcher kill next turn. Let's get in with the Oracles. Hit you down to 12. I don't know. Not feeling super comfortable. Once your opponent starts popping off with the One Ring. Well, 1, 2, 3. How about a literal blue moon, Harbinger of the Seas, which is very good against our opponent's mana base, except this fetch means they can probably get a Plains, right, and have access to Leyline Binding. So they still have 3 colors of mana, yeah. All right, well, opponent takes a little ring beats, down to 9, and draws with the ring. I mean, we can win in 2 turns. Our opponent's drawn so many cards that they probably will have an answer of some kind. But if they don't, technically, between the ring damage and our Thorical Beatdown, the Thorical Beatdown plan. Oh, all right, Solitude. Well, I imagine that is our Harbinger going away. Yeah, I mean, our opponent's drawn, what, 6 cards now with the ring? That's usually the cutoff. Like, if your opponent draws 6 cards with the ring and you are not doing that and you haven't won by now, that's when you pretty much are just dead to ring value. Opponent. Oh, yeah. Well, that, I think, does it. Because now we can't... Now we can't even get our Lotus Bloom. All right, opponent passes. Let's see what we draw. Lotus Bloom. And then if we draw an untap land and play the Belcher, they can just bounce it with Teferi. Force a negation would have been so good last turn. Oh, that would have stopped the Teferi. We probably would have won. All right, yep, I mean, our opponent is. I know our life total is still high, but the Run Ring's drawing 4. Teferi's locked us out of our game plan. I think we're going to bring in the island. So... bringing in the island's a little scary. It might have also been a mistake to cut so many of these forces. Bringing in the island's a little scary because it means our Belcher is not guaranteed to win if it's in our deck. But we saw the Boseiju, right? And we know our opponent's the kind of player who will fire it off on our lands. So bringing in the island is essentially a hedge against those effects. All right, if we lose because of this island... Ooh, Commandeer, okay. Okay. I am excited about Commandeer. Technically, we only have 1 land, but we have 2 preordained, so we should be able to find a land. We have the Selective Memory and the Thoracle, so if we get to 6 mana, we can win. And we have 2 free counters this time, which is huge. We'd actually just love to find a Lotus Bloom off this preordained. That would be the... All right, there is a Lotus Bloom. I think we actually keep both of these. So, land to the top, Lotus Bloom to the top, suspend the Lotus Bloom. Well, and now we can stop the Teferi, right? Between Commandeer and Force, we should be able to stop the Teferi. Opponent, land, and passing. Well, let's preordain. Do we want a second Force? I don't think we want the Subtlety. Actually, let's go bottom. Ugh, another Selective Memory. We need the land more than anything. That's the biggest risk here, is if we just don't draw lands... we can get this Lotus Bloom and still not have enough mana to win. We need at least 1 more mana. 6 mana wins with Selective Memory Oracle. 7 for Belcher. Opponent surveils away a island. Oh, I'm very excited for this Commandeer. Commandeering a 1 ring. We don't have a Strip Mine to go with it, but Commandeering a 1 ring would be pretty sweet. Opponent. Ren. All right. No Boseiju, so I think this is fine. If there was a Boseiju, we'd have to counter it. But I think we'd rather save our counters for things that can stop us from... Oh, all right. Yeah, we got to play the Thoracle to find lands. So, land to the top. All right. Well, we got a shot. But we had to spend our Oracle, which means we're going to need another turn. Now we're going to have to Selective Memory down to 1 card and then try to resolve the Thoracle the next turn. Opponent Plains and... Oh my god. Wait, Teferi. Oh my, that lets us, oh, this Commandeer's so good. Wow, that solves all of our problems. Okay, so we can Commandeer the Teferi. This will guarantee our opponent's not interacting with us during our turn. It'll let us resolve the Lotus Bloom, and it solves our Thoracle problem, because now we can just exile our deck and then bounce Thoracle back to our hand and play it. So I think this means we are essentially guaranteed to win this turn. Wow, Commandeer was so good. All right, so, well, Life with Teferi. Your opponent having Teferi is the worst, but having a Teferi does make you feel very safe. All right, so Lotus Bloom. We draw the untap land, play the untap land. Down to 14, thanks to the MDFC. Now we will just 1, 2, and 3. Selective Memory. So we are going to have that one island left in our deck, but that doesn't actually matter here. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, okay. So Moto is not the fastest at exiling cards from your deck with selective memory. I'm sorry about it. Okay. I mean, the other thing is, not only do we have to click every single card, we also have to make sure we don't mess up, because if we accidentally leave cards in our deck, it can fizzle our combo. So we have to be very precise, and oh no, this is going to take forever. Okay, so, well, I didn't realize how slow this would be. I wish there was like a select all. All right, so if we combo with selective memory in the future, I will probably try to speed this up in some way, because because this is not fast. I don't know why it's so slow. It's I mean, we're almost halfway through. Hey, I mean, it is working. It is working. It might not be the fastest, but it is. We're not going to time out, I don't think. So that's all that really matters from a win and loss perspective. But yeah, it says more annoying to click through than I thought. I was hoping it'd just be like click, 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 but no. So how's everyone's day been? How you liking Modern with no Nadu? What kind of oil do you use in your car? We have plenty of time to discuss all these topics and more. Also, I guess this is a chance to do a little ranting. Actually, very light rant. So, Nadu stuff. There's been this huge conversation over the last couple of weeks. Was it a mistake? Was it because it was designed for Commander? Was it because it was changed at the last minute? My opinion is this: none of that stuff actually matters. Like, Commander, Modern, I don't really care. Last minute change, I don't really care. All I really want is when you print a Nadu, ban it as quick as possible. That's it. That's all. I don't care how you made it. I don't care why you made it. None of that stuff actually matters much to me. What does matter to me is when Nadu happens, you ban it as quick as humanly possible. Don't let the formats languish for months. And that's the one thing that they haven't actually said. If anything, they said we're going to have less BNRs. So I am a little concerned about that. But we have successfully, I think, hopefully, we didn't miss anything, right? I don't think we missed anything. All right, one card in the deck. Pick up the Thoracle with the Teferi, draw the last card, replay the Thoracle. It took a lot of clicking. But in the end, MDFCs. That was pretty sweet. That was actually super sweet. And next time I will fast forward through the selected memory. All right. It is MDFC time, and this hand actually looks kind of insane, right? 2 lands, Lotus Bloom, Belcher. Ooh, Eldrazi. All right, Devour of Destiny revealed. Well, let's see how this goes. Tab land, Lotus Bloom. I mean, we still need to draw more lands. So to win with Belcher, we need 7 mana. Right now we're at 5. Although we can run out the Thoracle to dig, since we are probably not going to be winning with selective memory this game with 2 Belchers in hand. Opponent, Grove of the Burn Willows and Ancient Stirrings. Sure. Speaking of digging, opponent going to go digging for a colorless spell. And finds a Hugin's Labyrinth. Pretty good. Well, take down the Lotus Bloom. Play the Specimen untapped and get down Thoracle. The only downside of running out Thoracle is it lets our opponent know we have Thoracle, but that's fine. I think it's worth it here. So we guarantee to have the land, so we just have to live. We just have to live till the Lotus Bloom comes down without something going wrong here. Opponent, Hugin's Labyrinth. I mean, if they have another Labyrinth, they could just breach us next turn. Basically, we win in 2 turns. Ooh, okay. Well, if they have any mana source, they could breach us next turn. And Ancient Stirrings. Ooh, Sowing Myco Spawn. Oh, that might be an issue. We gotta hope they don't have another Soul Land. If they can Myco Spawn... If they can Myco Spawn and kick it and blow up one of our lands, that actually slows us way down. Well, hit you tonight, dude. All right, come on. No. 1, 2, 3, 4. No Soul Land. Eldrazi Temple. Our old friend Eldrazi Temple. Haunting us for more than a decade now. Well, that's really bad. That's really bad. So opponent gets to Myco Spawn us. Turn 3 Myco Spawn's kind of busted. Gets to ramp and get rid of one of our lands. And there's not even any point in slinking it or anything because they still get the triggers. I mean, we do have all those. I imagine this might be a sketchy matchup because we have a lot of consigned memories in the sideboard. We have a lot of them. All right, well, let's see what we find. So we get the Lotus Bloom. So the question's going to be, do we crack the Lotus? We draw a tap land. Let's just pass. So we win next turn, right? We still win next turn. I'm worried about running out the Belcher, sacking the Lotus Bloom. Because then if they can, like, Besage you to interact with it, then we're kind of out of luck. When we just get to win all the way next turn. No, you don't have another one, do you? Oh, opponent's like a Ponza deck. All right, well, another Myco Spawn. All right. That's kind of brutal. So we once again do not win next turn. Opponent gets another Eldrazi Temple. Yeah, life is getting worse. So now we need another land. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we could have used it to run the Belcher, but they would have just besaged the Belcher then. So in the end, it works out the same. Well, I kind of wish we were on the selective memory plan. At least selective memory does not get blown out by Besage. Well, yeah, this is not good. Thoracle, do some digging. We will take a land and then play the Slink. We can't even Subtlety. Not that it, I don't know how much it matters against Eldrazi. They have so many cast triggers. Bone Cavern. Naming Eldrazi. And the One Ring. All right. Well, the one thing we kind of had going for us is our opponent was down to 1 card, but that is no longer true. Now our opponent has all the cards and all the mana. It's just like Commander. You can beat an opponent that has all the mana. You can beat an opponent that has all the cards. What is very, very tough to beat is an opponent that has all the cards and all the mana. And our opponent, I mean, they have how much? They have like 11 mana for Eldrazi right now and a One Ring that's popping off. And we know we're drawing a Slink. So we're drawing a Seagate Restoration, whatever. We're drawing an MDFC land. So I think what we do, we still have a shot here. So we draw the Seagate Restoration. We play the Seagate Restoration. We drop to 12. We run out the Charbelcher. In theory, we just live for this turn, and then we Belcher and we win. That's the theory. Unfortunately, we don't have a blue card for Subtlety, so we can't do that. Our opponent's going to draw 2 with the One Ring, which is scary. We know they can get to the Devour Destiny, but that doesn't actually change anything because it can't blow up Belcher. So maybe after getting 2 lands and our Lotus Bloom blown up, maybe we're still in this. Pound it. Draws a bunch of cards with the One Ring. And what do you got, opponent? Seriously? Who plays 2 Besage? I didn't even realize that Eldrazi played 2 Besage. Most decks just play 1 Besage. All right, well, I mean, in theory, all his dust gets exiled. Opponent's back down to 1 card. What they need to do here is get the Devour and run it out, or play something else. If they don't add a threat to the table, we can just play Belcher again, though, and then try to win the turn after. It looks like they have something, though. Kozilek's, yeah, all right. That's probably enough to end it. Like, now our opponent literally has all the mana. We're going to be dropping a 1. They scry 8, and they One Ring. There's no way they do not find an answer here. Yeah, we're just gonna scoop it up. Go on to sideboarding. Yeah, that was a lot of land destruction. Those Myco spawns were brutal. Well, Consign to Memory, by far our best sideboard card. We will bring them all in. The Harbingers actually seem good. Commandeer seems good. And I think we bring in the island. I think. We saw multiple Besaigius. It's a little risky. But I think it's worth it. The Disrupting Shoals seem bad. Force of Negation's a little sketch. Even the Creature Bounce is a little sketch. Maybe just try it like that. All right. On to game number 2, we are on the play in this hand. Ooh. All right. I mean, we don't have a finisher, but we have lands, Preordains, and 2 Consign to Memories, which has got to be about our best card in this matchup. Not only being able to stop the Eldrazi, but stop their triggers is kind of huge. I'm glad Wizards added that to the set, or else Eldrazi might actually be kind of oppressive. All right, Preordain. Well, speaking of finishers, do we even want our finishers here, though? Right now we only have... Oh, we got to go bottom, don't we? Huh. Yeah, I think we got to bottom. Because we need mana. The finishers don't do anything if we don't have mana to cast them. So we got to put them to the bottom. Dig for mana and hope that we find our finishers once we have a little more mana. Opponent. Ancient Stirrings, of course. Sure. And passing. Selective Memory. All right. Well, I mean, that kind of worked out that we ended up finding a finisher anyway. Found a finisher, and we've got to hit our land drop. Opponent. Ugin's Labyrinth. So up to 3 mana here on turn number 2. And Trinisphere. Yeah, we'll just consign it. Consign, I think, is more valuable than force. So there's some argument for forcing, but we don't have anything really good to pitch to force. We need the land, and we want the Selected Memory Oracle. All right, well, all consigned to memories all the time here. I'm tempted to run up the Thoracle to dig for a land. Yeah, I think we're going to do it. We got to make sure we keep hitting our land drops. All right. Well, that's good. We get rid of the second selected memory that we definitely did not want and find a land. We still have the consign up. We could still force a negation if we had to. Opponent, Eldrazi Temple, and... All right, Talisman. That is fine. You can have that. Opponent, passing. I mean, do we just go for it? We have the force. So Seagate Restoration. Yeah, I mean, I think we just... Selective memory here, right? If they blow up a land, it doesn't matter. Yeah, selective memory. Well, you know what? I'm going to cut this out this time because good God, did this take forever. So we have exiled essentially our entire deck. Left in our deck, sadly, is that island in Athasa's Oracle. Bringing in that island turns this from a guaranteed win into a 50-50 shot. I don't know if that was a plan. I think there's also an argument. Wow, they have the breach. Okay, we had a plan for this. So we just need to draw the Oracle. We need to draw the Oracle. We need to draw the Oracle, not the island. Come on, Magic Gods. 50-50, 50-50. MDFC power. Come on. Come on. Island. Okay. Well, we know we're drawing the Oracle next turn. We survived the breach, so we might still be okay. I wonder if we should have put Preordain in the pile. Then we would have had 2 hits in 1 whiff. That might have actually been... It might have been better to go Oracle, Preordain, Island. Seriously? Seriously? They had 2 breaches. Oh, that island. All right. It is time to do some more MDFCing in New Modern. I gotta say, not having to worry about Nadu is nice. Not having to worry about Grief is also kind of nice. Ooh. Windswept Heath, Selesnya action. I haven't seen a Selesnya deck in Modern in, I don't even know. When was the last good Selesnya deck? Heliod? Heliod combo, maybe? All right, what do we want here? We do need We do need land. I guess we can keep both. Technically, we only had one land in hand, one MDFC. This hand, I mean, we got the Belcher, right? We don't have the fast mana, so we're not going to win super quick, but opponent going to do some surveilling. But we will win with Belcher eventually, hopefully. What is our opponent up to? One thing I will say, and I think the Energy is still probably the best deck in Modern, but I have not played against Energy nearly as much as I thought since I've started playing, Utopia Sprawl, since I've started playing a lot of Modern again, since the bannings. I expected I'd play against Energy maybe once or twice a league, and I played against it, most leagues I play against it 0 times, honestly. So I've been, and it might just be that everyone's, let's preordain here, it might be that everyone's just trying out do we keep one or both? I mean, we definitely want a Harbinger. Do we want one or both? I think we just keep one. The only upside to keeping both would be if the first one dies, we'd have a replacement, but I think it's worth digging for. Well, probably not snapback. Do we want to force a negation? Yeah, a little bit of defense. Our opponent could just be ramping into the One Ring, and One Ring would be very bad for us here. Hopefully our opponent gets a Surveil land. Come on, you gotta Surveil. You gotta get that value. You gotta get that value. You can't pass that up and get a basic. Yes. All right, that is what we wanted to see. I mean, worst case, even if they can deal with the Harbinger, it is gonna knock the Utopia Sprawl off the land. So it's gonna do. It's kind of a land destruction spell, even if our opponent has a way to answer it. Best case, our opponent doesn't have a basic and it sticks around and it just straight up wins us the game. That would be the dream. Ooh, all right, that is not a basic land. The only thing that could be better, wow, are they gonna tap out? The only thing that could be better is our opponent tapping out here. Nissa? With haste? What a weird play. Why are they hasting in a Nissa? I mean, sure. I mean, I think we just subtlety it. If we let the Nissa live, then it can make mana through our Harbinger, which would be awkward. Because of our MDFCs, we take a lot of damage. So we're at 14. Maybe our opponent's thinking, oh, we just hit with Nissa and like burn him out or something. Well, get rid of the Nissa for now. And let's see how good this Harbinger is. Ooh, another subtlety too. Well, MDFC, Seagate Restoration down to 11. We are killing ourselves quickly. Harbinger of the Seas. Opponent, have some islands. Harbinger is so good in this deck because not only does it hopefully wreck our opponent, which it appears to maybe be doing now, not only that, but it also lets our MDFCs come into play painlessly and untapped, which is kind of huge. All right, well, opponent, do you have an answer? Do you have an answer? Solitude, Perching, Prismatic Ending. Well, I think we subtlety again. So our opponent can put it on top, but then they need to have yet another white card in hand. And this is going to plow through their resources. So then hopefully we just Belcher, untap with Belcher, burn you out with Belcher. GG. Free spell wars. Well, opponent untaps. Sort of. It's funny their land's still exerted even though it's an island. Yeah, opponent's mana situation got much worse. They went from like good man. Oh, all right. They had another white card. Well, we made him pitch a Flage though. So opponent, they have one card in hand. I think in this case, we're at 13. I think in this case let's see. Let's see what we draw. Jwari Disruption. I mean, I think we just got to go for it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Run out the Belcher. If you got an answer, you got an answer. If you don't got an answer, then about to get belched. A little belching. All right, opponent. Let's see what you can do. They shouldn't be able to kill us from 10. They could Abyssage you. They could have, who knows? I don't even know what our opponent's exactly up to. Okay, Utopia Sprawl, sure. All right, opponent. Oh, is this the, what's the Nissa? Yeah, that's right. Okay. Well, opponent runs out the Nissa. We could kill the Nissa here to send a message, but I guess killing our opponent's probably better. Belcher you for 40-ish? All right, that went pretty well. I mean, the deck actually seems oddly kind of good. Harbingers coming in, more Harbingers. We didn't see a ton of their deck. Maybe that's it. Light touch and just bring in Harbingers. Let's try it like that. All right, on to game number 2, we're going to be on the draw. Watsy on a stream mentioned that initially the MDFCs for Modern Horizons 3 were going to be 2 life instead of 3, oh, they would have been so good. I mean, we're playing an all MDFC mana base now, and it's 3 life, and it's still working. Could you imagine if it was shocking instead of bolting? I think MDFCs would probably be even more of staples. They would definitely be even more of staples. This hand is fine. We're kind of lacking in a payoff, but the selective memory does help. We have a lot of defense. We'll see how good all these force negations actually end up being. It is painful to have to pitch a card, although less painful in our deck than most, since we get to pitch our lands. It's so the synergies are so interesting. So obviously, like, the big synergy, opponent gets a surveil land. The big obvious synergy is like, oh, you play all the MDFCs, you can win with Belcher, you can win with selective memory. But all the little synergies, I think, are really, really neat. Like, oh, all of our lands pitch to force of negation. Oh, Disrupting Shoal suddenly becomes really good because we have all these different mana values of lands, essentially, that we can pitch. Plus, sometimes our lands, like, bounce a hate card, like a Slink into Stupor can bounce a hate card or something. So the synergies are actually, they really add up. Opponent gonna crack a fetch land and gets a Sacred Foundry, untap down to 16. And, oh jeez. Alright, Gaddock Teague. That is a card I have not seen in a while, but it is a card that is really good against our finishes. Can't cast Selective Memory or Belcher. Well, this might be where we get to see the power of having a land like Slink into Stupor that can bounce a thing. So we, like, naturally have a way to deal with this Gaddock Teague, although we're gonna have to get the timing. Gonna have to get the timing right. We need to get to the point where we can bounce Gaddock Teague, untap, and win. Because if we just bounce it randomly, they can replay it. Nissa 2. I feel like we're kind of falling far behind here. It hurts, but I think we have to. We're gonna be too far behind if we don't. Yeah, we need several things to happen to win this game. We're gonna pitch the selective memory for now. We're pretty far away from being able to win with it. So bounce the Nissa. Untap. Well, there's a Lotus Bloom. Huh. Alright. We might end up regretting pitching that selective memory now, on second thought. Oh, yeah, that maybe would have been better to pitch a force. Huh. Yeah, that might come back to bite us. Oh, now that we have all this mana that's going to be coming, we have enough mana that we could theoretically Slink into Stupor, the Gaddock, and win in like 3 turns. Yeah, that might have been. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Opponent gets in with the Gaddock Teague, hits us down to 13. Nissa, ooh. Rumble, okay. Well, this works out. Get some value out of this force. Alright, better than our opponent just running the Nissa back out. No Rumble for you, opponent. I mean, we are kind of dying to this Gaddock Teague, though. Very slowly. The very slow death. Opponent, passing. Take down the Lotus Bloom. Draw even more forces. Oh. You know what we need to find now? We need to find a selective memory. or a Belcher, but we need to find a finisher. Oh no, we should not have pitched that. Opponent gonna bolt our face down to 10. Yeah, that was that might have been a blunder. A blunder. Opponent untaps Nissa. Opponent's gonna attack first. Hits us down to 8. Sure. Play a non-creature spell, opponent. We have all these force negations. Give us a target. Ooh, Utopia Sprawl, okay. I mean, not the juiciest target, but our opponent is missing land drops. Force of negation, number 2. I don't know if this is actually getting us closer to winning, though. Unless we find a finisher. Seagate Restoration. Is there a world where we cast that? We could Slink into Stupor the Gaddock Teague, get our Lotus Bloom, draw like 2, 3. Yeah, that doesn't seem that great. All right, let's just pass. I mean, at some point, when it looks like we're going to die, I guess we just have to bounce the Gaddock Teague and hope we top deck a finisher. We're down to 6. So also got to be aware of, wow, another Rumble. Yeah. Force of negation, again, we're just not going to let you hit that land drop. I don't know if we're actually winning because of this, but we are annoying our opponent, which is kind of a way of winning, right? It might not show up in the scorecard, but opponents annoyed is sort of a win. Well, Finisher, Belcher, Selective Memory. So we got the manas. We just need a way to close out the game. And also, we do still need to answer the Gaddock Teeg. We draw a Specimen. Okay, well, pass the turn. How long do we have until we just have to do it? So we go to 4. I guess we can maybe, we could run out this Specimen and try to block. Yeah, let's take it to 4. This Gaddock Teeg is threatening to go all the way. The Grizzly Bear Beatdown. Snapback. All right, well, that's another way we can bounce a Gaddock Teeg temporarily. About it on depths. The problem now is, so I think we had to bounce the Gaddock Teeg. If we go to 2, we die to Bolt or to Flage. So I think we had to bounce. We can't try to chump, but then if they have Solitude, well, yeah, let's try it. Run out the Specimen. We have taken way too much damage from this Gaddock Teeg. All right, opponent does have the Solitude. So go up to 5, down to 3. I'm really worried about getting in Bolt range. Yeah, this hurts, but let's bounce the Gaddock Teeg. The problem is they probably just replay it, so this doesn't give us the window to combo off. Definitely regretting pitching that Selective Memory years ago. I think we would have avoided a lot of these headaches and have won by now if we had not done that. Opponent replays the Gaddock Teeg, of course. We draw Preordain. Well, that's Preordain. See what we can find. Lotus Bloom, no. Selene Vision, also no. There's a Selective Memory. Okay. I mean, I guess that gives us a shot. So pass the turn. I don't think there's any way we can play around Bolt now. And there is that Flage in the graveyard. We need our opponent to not find mana still. Sooner or later, they're going to draw a land, and we're not going to be able to stop the Flage. Opponent combat. We got to take it. We tried to avoid not dying to Bolt, but there's not anything we can do about it now. We're a Flage. Down to 3. About it. Oh, no. Oh, Malevolent Rumble. Okay. Oh. Gets a spawn, finds the land, fills the graveyard. Well, now we need our opponent to not remember their Flage. I mean, we're going to play it out. Who knows? Maybe they will not Flage us for some reason. Let's bounce a Gaddock Teeg. Yeah, I think that turn that we pitched the Selective Memory on, like, turn 3, I think that was the turn where things kind of went wrong here. So bounce the Gaddock Teeg on our opponent's end step so we can actually cast Selective Memory. If it wasn't for that Flage. Come on, deck. Snapback. Sadly, Snapback, as good as it is, does not stop the Flage. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, we're going to do it. Selective Memory. Exile everything except the Oracle, and then we just hope our opponent somehow does not cast their Flage and kill us. Seems likely that they'll remember, but hey, you never know. Well, all right. Yeah, I won't make you sit through this again. So everything but a Thassa's Oracle into exile, which does mean we win the game next turn. If there is a next turn, which, assuming our opponent knows their deck, which I think they probably do, I don't think there will be. Well, man, I feel like this game, my overall feeling is we could have played this game differently and probably won. So I think this loss probably, I don't know if there's anything that you can point to as like a super obvious punt. It's not like one of those kind of games, but I feel like, I mean, maybe the exiling the Selective Memory was a super obvious punt, but I feel like that decision, and then also there might have been a time when we could have run out the Hydroelectric Specimen to block the Gaddock Teeg earlier, just to save some damage. So a couple of little things like that, I think if we had done a couple little things differently, I think there's a decent chance that we would have won. Now we're just hoping our opponent forgets their Flage in the graveyard, which not a super legit strategy for winning a game of Magic. Opponent, do you remember your Flage? I mean, we can bounce it, but it just doesn't really matter because of the ETB trigger, and there's the Flage. And death. Wow. Well, that was an interesting game. I was not expecting Gaddock Teeg. Not expecting the Gaddock Teeg. That is not a card that usually sees play, but it was actually very good against us. I wonder if Gaddock Teeg should see more play. It does stop the One Ring, right? As long as it stays out. Stops Leyline Binding. It does seem good against the One Ring decks, the Omnath style decks. Let's go up a couple more Disrupting Shoals. Maybe trim the Force of Negations that we drew so many of last game. And run it like that. All right, on to game number 3. And, ooh, wow, this is a really good hand. 2 Lotus Blooms, the Selective Memory, some Preordains. I mean, we got no defense. But this hand should be able to combo pretty quick. Lotus Bloom is maybe our most important card. It's on the short list of our most important cards. Like, the extra mana just... All of our win cons are kind of expensive. 3 extra mana makes it way easier. It turns out Black Lotus is a pretty good magic. Who would the sleeper pick, Black Lotus. Might be good someday. I think we will definitely keep the Slink. Did I say Slink? I guess I keep saying Slink, don't I? Sink? Is it just Sink? I think slinking into the Stupor would be even better. About it. Untaps. And Windswept Heath cracks it. I'm feeling a Utopia Sprawl. Are we getting Utopia Sprawled? Yeah. Makes sense. Well, Harbinger would be kind of cool. I wouldn't mind finding one of those at some point. About it. Passes. Well, take down the Lotus Blooms. Drawing a Thassa's Oracle would also be good. A Thassa's Oracle would let us win right away with Selective Memory rather than waiting. Well, that's Preordain. We might just bottom both of these. Snapback, eh? All right. Well, I mean, Snapback is something. So if you decide to play this deck, the order that you play your MDFCs does kind of matter. You want to obviously keep the ones in hand that you might want to cast. So like Being Veil or whatever, we're never going to cast. Like the odds of us casting it are very low. So getting that on the battlefield as a land seems good. Sink into Stupor. That's one of the ones we are most likely to want to cast. So try to hold that one to be the last MDFC. Also, the tappedness matters too. Obviously, get rid of the tapped ones when you can. Get them on the battlefield when you can. About it. Cracks a fetch. Grabs a Sacred Foundry. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Well, okay. We can't subtlety that, so sure. I mean, we might just be in try to win the game mode here. This might be just let our opponent do what they want and just try to save our resources for comboing with Selective Memory and surviving that turn. So we get to take down the Lotus Blooms. Like, we could snap back the Goblin. All right. So take down the Lotus Blooms. Another Sink into Stupor. Not the worst. We'll play it untapped. Down to 14. We would rather not cast this Sink into Stupor here if we could help it, because we kind of want another land. Although, really, with 2 Lotus Blooms, we don't even really need another land. We could fire it off if our opponent does something scary and still do the thing. All right, opponent gonna do some filtering. Opponent pitches a Bolt, pitches a Fable. It's actually been kind of a long, grindy match. It doesn't feel like this deck should play long, grindy games. It feels like it should be like either combo or lose, but I guess that's not always true. I mean, I guess when all your lands are also spells, you have a lot of options. Opponent gets in with the Goblin, makes a treasure. Down to 12. And passing or not. All right, cracks the fetch. Grabs a Forest. And Utopia Sprawl. Sure. And another Fable of the Mirror Breaker. All right. I mean, all that is kind of fine. None of that stops us from comboing. Ooh, Haywire Might. Huh. So if we only had 1 Lotus Bloom, that Haywire Might would actually be a problem. But with 2 Lotus Blooms, I think it's kind of fine. We could like just bounce it, but I don't even think it's necessary. So I think we can just let them snipe a Lotus Bloom here. So play if they want to. So play a Lotus Bloom. So there is a window. Since we get the Lotus Blooms on our upkeep, our opponent can blow them up now. So we can't use the mana main phase. See if they do it. They got the treasure. It seems like it's probably correct. All right, opponent going to Haywire Might. Get rid of the Lotus Bloom. Yeah. Well, we will get our second Lotus Bloom. This one, I think, likely to stick around, which, ooh, and a Harbinger too. Man, that would be so good. But I think we just got to go for the, win. We got to go for the win. Crack it. and selected memory. Hooray! Time for the click simulator. Good God. Finger workout. Finger workout over. We have a Thassa's Oracle left in our deck. And so we could slink in a super untapped Harbinger. The problem is our opponent has these two goblins that can make treasures. So even though we get rid of the Utopia Sprawls and mess with their non-basics, it doesn't really stop our opponent from playing things. So I think we're better off just passing. We can snap back. We can also subtlety. So we have two ways to deal with something. So I think hopefully we're good, and then we just play the Thassa's Oracle and win the game, but we will see. We will see about it. Ooh, Arena Glory. Okay. I mean, we got defense, though. So even if they have, like, Hasty Flage or something, which I guess they couldn't escape it, so it wouldn't matter, but even if they have something big and hasty, we have the answer. So I think we're good. I hope we're good. Opponent thinking it over. They need a non-creature spell. Something that gets around Snapback and Subtlety that shuts down Thassa's Oracle. I don't know what that would be. Opponent tapping and... Ooh, Elishnorn. That actually would hilariously be the perfect answer, but... we will subtlety it. But yeah, there are not many ways to stop a Thassa's Oracle ETB trigger. Elishnorn Mother of Machines. Opponent's deck actually looks sweet. I think I would enjoy playing our opponent's deck. Got Elishnorn. I haven't seen a One Ring, though. I feel like our opponent's deck should have the One Ring, because the One Ring is so busted. But Elishnorn, Nissas, Gaddock Teagues, One Rings. Does seem like a cool Naya deck, but I think this does it. Opponent's tapped down now. They still do have the Goblins. You know what would be a hilarious way to lose with this deck? Because if our opponent had some like random mill one spell, or make us Secret Rendezvous would get us. If our opponent just Secret Rendezvous us, opponent gets in with the Goblins, down to 8, makes some treasures. But we get to untap and tap a couple lands and cast a Thassa's Oracle, and wow, what a game! What a game! Wow. It wasn't easy, but I think we got there. And the Oracle ETBs. Well, up to 2-1. Up to 2-1. MDFC power. Sweet, sweet. It is time to do some MDFCing in Modern. And this hand, that's a lot of lands. Technically, 6 lands preordained. I don't think we can keep that. This hand seems better. Well, this hand actually seems good. This hand lands, select a memory, Lotus Bloom. All right, we got a plan. Man, I wish we could win with Belcher more often. Just to avoid the click simulator. But select a memory's been working. Untap land and preordain. Bottom, and we'll keep a land here. So spend the Lotus Bloom, pass the turn. Be sweet to find a Oracle opponent. Fetch land and pass it. Well, take down the Lotus Bloom. Force a negation. All right, well, let's first preordain. Do a little digging. Jwari Disruption and sink into stupor. Do we want, how many lands do we need? Let's keep the untapped land. You know what? Let's keep them both. We might actually be able to counter something with this Jwari Disruption. At this point, we're kind of in the just like stay alive until this Lotus Bloom comes down stage, because in theory, Lotus Bloom, select a memory, should make it pretty easy for us to win here. Opponent land and Orcish Bowmasters runs it out main phase. I guess that makes sense against a blue deck. Well, we already spent our preordain, so that's kind of fine. Our deck doesn't really draw cards outside of the preordain, draw extra cards. Well, Lotus Bloom, come in next turn. Yeah, let's just play the Disruption. Pass turn. I don't think our opponent Well, I'm guessing they're Yawg, right? That would be the most obvious. I don't think they can do anything too ridiculous this turn. But it passes. Well, here comes the Lotus Bloom. Hopefully they... Well, if they could, like, chord... Well, they can't chord for Haywire Might. Yeah, we should be good. Let's get the Lotus Bloom. And draw another Selective Memory. Well, I mean... I think the time has come. The time has come to do some clicking. Selective Memory. Actually... Let's play the land first, untap, so we have up the Force of Negation. Selective Memory. Oh, my finger's getting tired. Draw more Belchers, please. All right, well, here we go again. Clicking complete. Our deck is just a single Thassa's Oracle. And I guess stop us somehow, opponent. Stop us somehow. We got the sync up. We got the Force of Negation up. Opponent. Another Bowmaster. That's fine. So, I mean, I imagine we're good. I don't know how Yawg would stop this, honestly. How would Yawg realistically? Thoughtseize doesn't do it. They can't combo. Yawgmoth. And land. So he could like court out a Yawg or something, but even that, like, it doesn't matter, right? Even if they kill the Thassa's Oracle, we're gonna have 0 cards in our deck. Opponent. So I think they have chord, but it just isn't relevant. All right, well, we will untap, draw Thassa's Oracle, of course, and I don't know what our opponent could have that's going to stop this, but we will, I mean, Thoracle? Wait, it's just working? Opponent, going to chord, but what, is there something they can chord for that matters? What could they chord for 3? Wait, is there a card I'm not thinking of that actually ruins our day here? Is that possible? No, there's nothing. I don't think there's, oh, all right, opponent, they're just taking a peek. They're just going to check and make sure. But yeah, I can't think of anything in a Yawg deck. I guess if you're in blue, you could like court out Tishana's Tidebinder. That would be insane. I wouldn't even be mad. That would just be such a sweet play. All right, so we're up against Yawg. What do we want against Yawg? Honestly, maybe not a ton. We have a little bounce we could bring in. The Stern Scolding seem good. Those get Yawg. Not a Commandeer matchup. They probably have Beseiju, but I don't think it's worth bringing in the island without having more info. Since we saw before that the island can actually ruin our combo. Yeah, maybe just trim a couple counters. Run it like that. All right, on to game... Wow, that hand is so good. On to game 2. We are on the draw. But, I mean, double Lotus Bloom is kind of the dream. Panic. Surveil Land. Double Lotus Bloom, and we have a Subtlety. Ooh, and a Stern Scolding now, too. Well, suspend a Lotus Bloom, and also suspend a Lotus Bloom, and play a... yeah, we'll just play Droid Disruption. We could, like, untap the Sink into Stupor to leave up the Stern Scolding, but I don't think it's necessary. Malevolent Rumble. Let's get ready to Malevolent Rumble. Opponent goes digging, makes a spawn. Did not take the Beseiju. I actually think taking the Beseiju was probably the best choice. Like, Beseiju is so good against our deck. It's so good. Just being able to blow up our lands and we can't get another one is very strong. Play another tap land, leave up the Stern Scolding. I mean, in theory, we just win in 2 turns. Like, the turns the Lotus Blooms come down, unless our opponent can find something to stop us, that is about as fast as our deck can win, I think. About it. Gonna do some more surveilling. And passing. Okay. Well, take down the Lotus Bloom. And also take down the Lotus Bloom. Snapback. Was kind of hoping just to draw another land. I guess yeah, let's just play it tapped. Play it tapped, pass the turn. All right, opponent. I mean, this is your turn. If you're going to stop us, Orcish Bowmasters, that's... Oh, do we care about that? Yeah, I mean, we might as well. Let's counter it. It's 2 bodies for a Court of Calling. We don't really care about the Bowmasters, but the 2 bodies for the Court of Calling could be relevant. Plus, we still have this subtlety, so if our opponent has, like, a Yawg or something, we can stop it for now. Well, okay, this should... Is this just game? This is, like, the easiest win. After last match, which was the grindiest match, my god. Getting a nice, easy win would be fine with us. Lotus Bloom. I mean, I guess our opponent could blow up the Lotus Blooms before we go to our main phase? Lotus Bloom, Lotus Bloom? Oh, alright. Well, I mean, if you can't blow up the Lotus Blooms, I think we just blow you up with a Belcher. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Belcher? I don't know how this goes wrong now. Belcher you? And, wow, got the GGs. Well, that was much easier. If your opponent can't interact, this deck is actually kind of busted. Sweet. All right, on to round number 5. We are currently 3-1. Man, if it wasn't for that one Eldrazi match, which we did legitimately get kind of wrecked that match. Although, honestly, I don't even know if it's that bad of a matchup. I think we could have played that one differently, but anyway, going for the 4-1. Going for the 4-1 with Mono Blue MDFC combos, and this hand does not have a payoff. I think we just mulligan. This hand, all right, has a payoff. What do we put to the bottom? Subtlety, maybe? We have no idea what our opponent's up to at this point. So yeah, let's just subtlety to the bottom. Sand could use a... Ooh, all right. Blue manas. Blue manas. Interesting. So what is our opponent playing? Could be a frog deck. Wow, Lotus. That was a card I was going to say this hand could use a Lotus Bloom, but now this hand has a Lotus Bloom, and now this hand is, I mean, probably set up to win on turn 4. Should we live that long? I mean, opponent having blue mana, this is going to make it interesting. Because that means our opponent can theoretically counter us, and counters are good against us. About it. Gonna crack a fetch land. I don't know if we ever cast a Seagate Restoration in this deck. Archaeologist, opponent. Gonna do some digging. Whiffs, but gets an Atrox in the yard. Well, let's take down the Lotus Bloom. Force negation is not bad. That could definitely be relevant here as a way to stop a Goryo's Vengeance. Opponent definitely playing Vengeance. About it. Untaps. And, all right, more Surveillance. The Surveillance are so good in our opponent's deck. I mean, they're good in general, but they're even... I've definitely had games playing against our opponent's deck where they don't have the Atrox in the graveyard and manage to surveil one in, and it feels like cheating. When your dual land is also... Jace, okay. Oh, you know what I miss? I miss Obsidat. I know it's boomery now, but you remember the Obsidat Goryo's Vengeance deck? That deck was so cool. This is like kind of, I guess, the 2024 edition of it, but now it's kind of boring because you just play Atroxa, but it was so neat. You could do the trick where you like reanimate the Obsidat, but then you exile it to his ability instead of the Vengeance. Oh, I miss that deck now. I mean, I guess you could play an Obsidat in this deck. Like, the mana works, the synergy. I wonder why people don't play an Obsidat. Play an Obsidat, people. If I was a dirty reanimation player, I'd be running an Obsidat, even if it was suboptimal, just because it's cool. Opponent, more archaeology. Gonna do some more digging. Can they find a Goryo's Vengeance? No. Whiffed again. These archaeologists have been I mean, so they're still kind of doing their job, filling the graveyard, but you'd much rather, like, mill the Atraxa and get a spell. But both of our opponent's archaeologists have just whiffed so far. Opponent not going to flip the Jace yet. Gets in to hit us. Sure. I mean, they have mana, but we have this Disrupting Shoal that can counter a 2 or a 3. So I think we probably can win here even through the most common counter spells. We gotta go. The Force of Negation doesn't help because it's our turn, but opponent, Jace, flips it on our upkeep. Oh, I guess they were worried about us like tide binding it or something, so I guess that makes sense. Opponent gets the Jace. Well, we will get a Lotus Bloom. And another Lotus Bloom. Don't really need that one, but that's all right. So, I mean, I think we just go for the win here. The Disrupting Shoal should make it relatively safe. So 1 and 4. And run out the Belcher. All right, opponent. Show us what you got. But I mean, they need like a 1-mana counter. Force Negation doesn't do it. Counter Spell doesn't do it. Well, opponent fetches. Gets an untapped blue source. And Tainted Indulgence? I don't even think we care about countering Tainted Indulgence. That's fine. Draw away, friend. Draw away. Game? Is that game? Flare it and wow. Opponent found a flare, but we have a shoal. The OG free modern counter spell. Taking down the new hotness. In our deck, shoal is way better than flare. Well, that went actually super well. The games when you have Lotus Bloom in this deck, the deck feels kind of busted. All right, so we're up against Scourge's Vengeance. Counter spells, Thought Seizes. We don't have Graveyard Hate. I think we just customize our counter suite a bit. Bring in like the Mystical Disputes. It's funny we've only brought in the island once and we lost because of it. That good old, we learned our lesson about that tempting sideboard island. It might just be better to take the beats. Yeah. Do a little trimming, run it like that. All right, on to game number 2. We're going to be on the draw this game. And, well, okay. So no Lotus Bloom, no defense, 2 finishers. Huh. I mean, I guess the Sink into Super is kind of defense. Actually, I'm not sure this hand is that good, the more I think about it. Yeah, I think we can do better. This at least has defense. We don't have a finisher, but that's okay. We got a Preordain. We have a Mystic Dispute. This hand's still not great, but the first hand was not great either for the matchup. Like, you got to remember, our opponent's deck can do very explosive things very quickly. Like, they have the ability to get, like, a turn 3 Atraxa or whatever and just, like, run away with the game. Let's play a Specimen as a land and do a little Preordaining. Oh, you know what'd be sweet if we can get him with this Jawari Disruption. that would be sweet. Let's go. Force Negation also seems good. Let's go, or Harbinger seems good. Let's go Land to the Bottom. Force Negation would be good. Harbinger, I think, is, our opponent hasn't seen it, right? Our opponent hasn't seen it. Their incentive is to fetch out Surveil lands. Yes, they are a blue deck. Mills over a flare. Yes, they are a blue deck. But I feel like, assuming our opponent does what we expect them to do, which is just go all in on these Surveil lands, we might be able to really get them with this Harbinger. Well, Specimen. And we gotta try to get the Jawari Disruption value. Basically a Mana Tithe. Less surprising because it's in blue, but still. It always feels good when you can get someone with the most conditional counter. Pound it. Cracks. And, come on, not a basic. Watery Grave, that's fine. Watery Grave untapped. And Tainted Indulgence. Well, I mean, yeah, we're going to do it to say we did. Jawari Disruption. Counter it. We'll see if this is even correct. But we gotta get the MDFC value. All right, opponent fetch land. Cracks the fetch land. Oh, no. Island. Okay, out of all the basics to get, that's the best for us. Oh, Teferi. Oh, that would have been so much better to Jwari Disruption. That's a problem. Now they can just bounce the Harbinger. Oh. Oh, they just ticked it down. Oh, wow. That might be a fatal mistake for our opponent. Now they can't bounce the Harbinger. And our Harbinger, not only is it going to give our opponent only blue mana, which is kind of insane for us, it also can kill the Teferi. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, if they had ticked up the Teferi there, I think we'd be in serious trouble. But they drew the card, which makes sense. We got nothing on board. It seems safe to do. And they had not seen the Harbinger, but that worked out super well for us. Opponent, Teferi, taking it up. And passing with a bunch of islands. All right, another Harbinger. Well, we don't have a way to win the game, but we might be able to get a Blood Moon win here. Can we actually win with Harbingers? Opponent cycles a Triome, sure. Teferi down. And, well, let's play a Singing to Super. Untapped for free, because it's an island now. Harbinger number 2, just in case you find some removal. And I think we might win with Blood Moons here. Who needs a finisher when your opponent cannot cast any spells? Found it. Passing. We untap. Another land. Well, the beatdown is on. I mean, what do we need? Four turns? 4, 8, 12. Yeah, 4 turns of beatdowns. And we have multiple counters in hand. Although one is Jwari Disruption. Oh, no. Oh, no. Are we getting... Is this a Salty Rope? Okay. A bit of a pause. You never know. Sometimes Moto crashes, too. It could be Moto crashing. Or, who knows, phone call, whatever. Man, these Harbingers are so good. Got him. Got him. All right, it is many minutes later. I have restarted Moto. Just on the off chance that it was us that was disconnected. But it seems like our opponent might actually... I don't want to say they're salty roping for sure. They might not be salty roping. They might have had Moto crash or something. But it appears that our opponent's not here. And now we just got to wait for the clock to run out. And I think we're going to finish with a 4-1. A 4-1 with all MDFC mono blue combos. It took a lot of clicks. But in the end, yeah, opponent dead. And that went really well. And we have 5 treasure chests open. All right, a reward for doing so well. Let's crack open these chests and see what we can find. So I gotta say, this deck it worked way better than I thought. It looks so janky, but it actually works super well. All right, let's get some good chests to close it out. 5 treasure chests. Chest number 1. What do we find? Arid Mesa. And oh wait. That's a complete set. Oh. Okay, that's like the biggest hit. That is a complete Outlaws of Thunder Junction set. Okay, this was a good league. Let's see how much this costs. How much is a complete set? Complete set. Wow, 62 ticks. Okay, that is that is a hit. All right, we are running incredibly hot today. The 4-1 into the complete set treasure chest. And also, I mean, Arid Mesa, it's funny, Arid Mesa is traditionally one of the least valuable fetches, but because Boros Energy is so good, it's become, I mean, fetch lands aren't that expensive on Moto anymore, 4 ticks, but still, it's become one of the more valuable fetches. Well, that was about as good as chests get. Can we keep it going? Flibble. Flip. Blade Historian saw play at one point. All right, not as good as a complete set, I will say. Blood Crypt. I mean, Shocklands are almost valueless on Moto now, which I'm not complaining. I think it's a good thing because anyone can play with them. But not exciting hits and treasure chests. 2 more to go. What do we find? Bad Omnath. Here, the green one. I feel like I've opened so many Royal Assassins and treasure chests. 1 more to go. Oh, Seedborn Muse, Shelldock Isle. Those are fun commander cards. Well, we got a complete set. We 4-1 the league with all MDFC combos and opened a complete set. Sounds like a win to me. So what did we learn this week about mono blue MDFC combos in Modern? And the deck kind of crushed it. We played a Modern League. We went 4-1 in the Modern League, so really solid record. And honestly, our one loss, I kind of feel like maybe we sort of punted. I don't know. If you go back to the Eldrazi loss, there was that turn where we lost game one legitimately to our opponent just having a ton of land destruction that made us not really do anything, although we could have played that game more aggressively. Game two, we managed to resolve the selective memory, and then we had the island in our deck from our sideboard, which might have been a punt to bring in the island anyway, but then we had the island in our deck. So when we selective memoried, we ended up leaving ourselves with an island and a Thassa's Oracle in our deck. So we essentially had a 50-50 shot of winning the game the next turn. So we drew, and it was the island, and we didn't win the game, and our opponent had the second through the breach to get through our force negation. But what I think we should have done there is I think the pile should have been Island, Thassa's Oracle in Preordain. That would have just shifted the math in our favor, because if we hit the Island, we lose. If we hit the Thassa's Oracle, we still win because we have enough pips on the battlefield. If we hit the Preordain, then we can cast it and guarantee that we're going to find the Thassa's Oracle and then cast the Thassa's Oracle and win. So essentially, we would have shifted the math from a 50-50 shot of finding the Oracle to win to like a 67% shot, a 2/3 chance of winning the game. So I think that was a slight punt. Also, it's arguable that maybe we shouldn't even brought in the island. I think because in the first game of that match, we got so wrecked by like double Beseju and our opponent's land destruction plan, I think it made sense to bring it in, but maybe we shouldn't have. And if we didn't, we would have actually just won the game there rather than losing the game. And who knows, maybe we would have finished with a 5-0. But overall, the deck felt really good. Like, it's got a lot of disruption, it's got a lot of interaction, it can protect its combo, it felt pretty consistent. Yes, there's a cost to playing all the MDFCs that we talked about, but it seems like, at least in this case, the power that we get of these combo finishes outweighs the cost. Plus, it's kind of hilarious that every single card in our deck is technically a spell. Sure, some of them are spells that we essentially never cast. Like, I don't think we ever cast Seagate Restoration. We rarely cast Salundi Visions or a Being Veil, but some of them are pretty good. We got to see Jwari's Disruption get our opponent. Sink into Stupor is actually just like really huge. We saw that game with Gaddock Teague that kind of locked us out of comboing. Having a land that can also bounce one of our opponent's stacks pieces or combo hate cards, super, super strong. So all around, I kind of really love this deck, and now I'm curious about what else we can do with this all MDFC mana base. So, like, is there a mono black all MDFC deck we can build? What about mono red? There's so many possibilities here. So if you got some ideas of how else we can abuse the fact that we can now play a 24 land monocolor all MDFC mana base, definitely let me know in the comments, because maybe we'll explore more of these in the future. So anyway, that is mono blue MDFC combos. That's been our deck for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Looking for even more magic? Well, check out the video about the deck that bored opponents to death on the Pro Tour, or maybe the one where we found out what was better, a 2014 Modern deck or a 2024 Standard deck.